14-year-old Ethan Mercer had learned the hard way that the world didn't care about kids alone on the streets. Since his parents had died in a car crash 2 years ago, he survived mostly by scavenging, doing odd jobs, and staying in the shadows. Most people didn't notice him, and that was just the way he liked it. He had a small stash of canned food in an abandoned garage and a tattered backpack with all his belongings. His life was quiet, grim, and predictable. Until that night. Ethan was walking home through the alley behind the local convenience store, hoping to find a few bottles to trade for food, when he noticed a sleek black car pull up. The streetlight reflected off the tinted windows. A figure stepped out. Rico the Viper Valenti, a notorious drug dealer whose name struck fear into every corner of town. Rico was known for being ruthless, cunning, and deadly. Ethan froze when he saw Rico pull a gun. A man across the street argued, waving his hands. One shout, a flash of silver, and then a gunshot. The man fell, lifeless. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had witnessed a murder. Rico's eyes scanned the alley, and they locked onto Ethan. "You," Rico hissed, pointing a finger. "Yeah, you in the shadows. Keep your mouth shut, you hear me?" Ethan couldn't move. Fear paralyzed him. Rico stepped closer, smirking. "Speak, and you're dead. Understand?" Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. "You got it?" Rico demanded. "Yes," Ethan whispered. "Good." Rico turned and walked back to his car, leaving a trail of cigarette smoke behind. Ethan waited until the engine roared away before he ran. That night, Ethan packed a small bag, cans, water, a flashlight, and a notebook, and disappeared. He left town quietly, taking buses and hitching rides, avoiding anyone who might recognize him. For months, he wandered through cities and small towns, staying in abandoned houses and sleeping under bridges. The fear of being seen again by Rico kept him moving. He never stayed in one place too long. Every night, Ethan replayed the murder in his head. He remembered the man's terrified face. He remembered Rico's eyes. And he remembered the threat. Keep your mouth shut. Sitting in a rundown motel room in a small town 3 states away, Ethan wrote in his notebook, "I didn't tell anyone. I won't. Not yet. Not ever. But what if I see him again? What if he finds me?" He stared at the ceiling, listening to the rain tapping against the cracked window. In the silence, Ethan made a decision. Survival first, secrets second. But he couldn't shake a gnawing feeling in his chest. Something wasn't right. That man, he looked familiar. Ethan Mercer had returned to his hometown under the cover of dusk. The streets smelled of smoke, exhaust, and decay. A familiar, depressing mixture he had grown used to over the past year. He kept his head down, his backpack close, and avoided eye contact with anyone who might remember him. Though he had survived on his own for months in other towns, returning home brought back memories he hadn't wanted to think about. The crumbling schoolyard where he used to meet friends, the empty grocery store his parents once took him to, the park where he and Lucas spent hours playing catch. All of it was changed. All of it was silent. He moved quickly, eyes darting, senses alert. Even after months away, the memory of Rico's cold eyes and the words, "Keep your mouth shut," haunted him. It wasn't just fear. It was a threat that had rooted itself deep in Ethan's psyche. It didn't take long for Rico to notice Ethan. He had spies in every corner of town, people loyal out of fear or money. One night, as Ethan rounded a corner near the old gas station, he saw the sleek black car parked in the shadows, engine off, tinted windows reflecting the dim light. Rico stepped out, his signature smirk on his face. Well, well,
Look who decided to come back. Ethan froze, stomach twisting. I I don't want trouble, he stammered. Rico leaned casually against the car, exhaling smoke. Trouble? No, trouble's what you saw. That's behind us. Unless you want to reopen it. Ethan felt his heart rate spike. I I don't know what you mean. Rico's grin widened. You saw something. You didn't say a word. Smart kid. That's why you're alive. Now, I'm going to make it worth your while to keep your mouth shut. With that, Rico opened the passenger door and handed Ethan a thick envelope. Inside, $20,000 in cash. Ethan's hands trembled as he held the envelope. He had never seen that much money in his life. For someone like him, 14, barely surviving, with no family, no home, no security, it represented freedom, food, shelter, clothing, a chance at school. Rico's voice cut through his thoughts. You keep your mouth shut, live a little easier. You talk, well, you know the consequences. Ethan nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the envelope in his hands. Money meant safety. Money meant survival. Money meant life. But at what cost? That night, Ethan lay on the floor of an abandoned apartment he had found to hide in. The envelope lay next to him, its bulk heavy with potential. He stared at the ceiling, trying to block out the sound of his own thoughts. Could he take the money and live? Or would that money forever stain his conscience? A few days later, Ethan sought out his best friend, Lucas, who had changed drastically since the death of his parents. Lucas was quieter, withdrawn, his laughter replaced by a haunted expression. Ethan watched him from a distance before summoning the courage to approach. Hey, Lucas, Ethan said, voice shaking. How have you been? Lucas glanced up, eyes hollow. I'm surviving, he said. What about you? Ethan hesitated. He wanted to tell Lucas about what he had seen, but the thought of Rico's warning echoed in his head. Keep your mouth shut. Instead, he tried small talk, asking about school, mutual friends, and the town, but Lucas's eyes remained haunted. He knew he couldn't hold it in forever. And then one night it hit him. The person killed that night wasn't just some random victim. It was Lucas's parents. Ethan walked home that night with the envelope in his pocket. The streets were empty and the wind carried the faint scent of smoke from the old factories. He thought about the money. $20,000. Enough to buy his own apartment, food, and safety for months. And yet the money felt heavy, not because of its weight, but because of what it represented. Complicity. By keeping it, Ethan would be silently supporting a killer. He would be lying to the one person who deserved the truth most, Lucas. He sat in the dark, staring at the envelope, feeling trapped. He could sleep with it beside him, keep it safe, and pretend the moral burden didn't exist. Or he could throw it away and do the right thing. Ethan's mind raced with scenarios. If he told Lucas, Rico would know. He might be hunted down. He might die. But if he kept quiet, could he live with himself? Could he sleep at night knowing he had betrayed his best friend? For days, Ethan wrestled with himself. He walked past the old playground where he and Lucas once played, imagining Lucas laughing and safe, imagining his parents alive. He thought about Rico's smirk and the envelope full of money. The tension was unbearable. The choice wasn't just about money. It was about loyalty, morality, and courage. Ethan finally made his decision. He couldn't live with a secret like this. He would have to tell Lucas the truth no matter the cost. The night was silent as Ethan approached Lucas's home. The envelope weighed heavily in his backpack, but heavier still was the truth he was carrying. He knew that once he told Lucas, nothing would ever be the same. Rico would know, Lucas's world would shatter, and his own safety would be at risk. But Ethan was done hiding. He was done running from fear. The first step was the hardest, but he took it anyway. Ethan's hands shook as he stood outside Lucas's door. He could hear Lucas moving inside. Every second of hesitation felt like a lifetime. He swallowed and knocked. Lucas opened the door, surprise and suspicion in his eyes. "Ethan, you're back?" Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I have to tell you something. Something about your parents." Lucas's expression darkened. "Ethan, please, I don't want to talk about it." Ethan shook his head. "No, you deserve to know. I saw what happened that night." Ethan recounted the events carefully. The alley, the argument, the gunshot, and Rico's eyes. He told Lucas about the warning, the money, and the months he spent away hiding. Lucas's face twisted with shock, grief, and rage. It was them? Ethan nodded. "I'm so sorry, Lucas. I didn't tell you before because I was scared. But you deserve to know." The room was silent. Lucas's hands clenched into fists. Tears ran down his cheeks. I can't believe this. All this time." Ethan placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. "You're not alone. We'll face this together." Knowing Rico would eventually find out, Ethan and Lucas prepared. They contacted the authorities and provided the detailed account only Ethan could know. Rico, enraged, confronted Ethan in a dark alley. You made a mistake. You had an agreement." Ethan stood his ground. "I don't care about your money. I don't care about your threats. Lucas deserves to know the truth. You're going to pay for what you did." Rico lunged, but the authorities arrived moments later, acting on the tip Ethan had given. Rico was arrested, handcuffed, and led away, a mixture of fury and disbelief on his face. The town slowly began to recover from the shadow Rico had cast. Ethan and Lucas attended counseling and worked to rebuild their lives. The envelope of money was returned to the authorities. It felt tainted, a symbol of compromise and fear. "You did the right thing," Lucas said to Ethan. I don't know what I'd do without you." Ethan smiled faintly. "We survived. That's what matters. We live, and we fight for what's right." Though the scars of the past remained, Ethan had grown in courage and conscience. The weight of silence was gone, the danger was over, and for the first time, he felt like a survivor in the truest sense.
Thanks for listening and watching our stories. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, smash that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop.